EA Sports is proud to present today's PGA Tour coverage. Well, take a look at this site, Wolf Creek Golf Club. It is for real. Frank, I've never seen anything quite like this as we get set to call it for EA Sports. I'm Rich Lerner behind the mic, and we welcome you to this site that opened up back in 2000. It's a par of 72 with some elevated tees. Frank, what does the player need to look out for here at Wolf Creek?
Well, everything. Try and keep your eyes on the fairways, though. That's the only green thing about in this magnificent venue. It's hard to imagine you can play golf in this sort of area, but it's so well defined. Obviously, anything green is golf course, and left or right of that, you're going to find yourself in some problems. But really trying to judge all the elevation changes. Ball's going to fly a little bit further in the thin air, but it's amazing on the eye.
Playing his third here at the par 5, -2 early in the round. Here at the par 4, 445-yard second hole. Severe dogleg to the left. What's the best play here, Frank?
That tee shot, Rich, is so intimidating, so you don't necessarily have to hit driver. Club decision is probably going to be important here, because if you hit driver, you've got to take it down over that left side, all over the canyon area. So if you hit 3-wood, you can play a slightly more conservative tee shot, but it is going to leave you a longer second shot to a green that's well protected on the right side by bunkers. But really, if the wind's not blowing, this is a really good, fun hole to play. Look at the vistas.
Frank, it's one thing to jumpstart your round. This would ignite the round.
Yeah, you don't normally see two par 5s back-to-back, so the chances of having consecutive eagles is so rare. Should be safely on deck.
Nice play right there. That's in pretty close. Getting set now over the putt. No problems early. Looks good.
It does look good. This bodes well. We might be in for a very, very low round today.
Back to the tee here at Wolf Creek. A lot of sand along the right side of this fairway leading up to the green, Frank.
Yeah, I can't even count how many bunkers they got down that right side. It's easy to see where not to go. So obviously you want to get that ball up on that left side. And then really it's just a short pitch across. Yeah, this hole's only 383 yards and it won't even really play its distance. But, of course, you've got to be careful. It's not long, but fairway first once again here. You can see all the problems around there if you do miss this fairway.
Now to the par 5, 5th hole. Cut it over the ridge here, Frank?
Well, if you can, if you dare. And there is actually a stream here. I know we're in the middle of the desert, but if you can clear that stream, that's the main thing. This is a crazy-looking tee shot because it looks like you want to go down that down that canyon area, but if you don't know the exact distance you fly the ball, then you're going to be in lots and lots of problems. Those collection of 3 bunkers down the right side, as long as you can avoid that, then that second shot to this par 5, that's not overly long, it's just under 500 yards, is certainly reachable. Second shot will play uphill to a elevated green with, once again, 3 different levels.
Just an amazing display. The records continue to fall. Frank, here at the 6th, where are you looking to land the ball off the tee?
Got to be careful here for the longer hitters, Rich. Driver actually might be too much. That stream that we just saw at the par 5 5th hole also comes across here. So something that lands short of that, which is in the vicinity of 280, 290 yards. That's the key. From there, well, you're not going to have too much more in, sort of 140, 150 yards in. It is a dogleg right, but find that fairway there. Second shot played just a fraction uphill. And this green, it's got more humps and hollows in it.
This one has a chance, and he has it. Beautiful putt. Well, everybody loves the short par 4, and here we have one, Frank, just 302 yards, the 7th hole.
And this hole is anything other than straightforward, Rich. Huge drop off at the front of the screen that is surrounded by water. So it's going to be a layup off the tee, really, to try and get the right yardage. This green is very, very, it's not very deep, but it's extremely wide. The hardest thing is to try and get a flat lie with whatever club you decide to hit off the tee and get the right yardage. Otherwise, that green actually might be a little elusive, even though this is a very short hole.
Par 3/8, 248 yards down to the green. What a hole.
Yeah, maybe you put your two hands together, make a little prayer. You might make two, but make three here and run to the next tee. This is it's just a gorgeous par 3, but it is tough. Every bit as tough as what it is pretty, as a matter of fact.
That's an outstanding shot right there, and it sets up a really good look at birdie. Locked in on the read and the speed. Really has a feel on these greens. That is another birdie. This is impressive. Set to round out the front side here at Wolf Creek with a par 4.
Fun hole for the big hitter too. They can really take advantage of this. The last fairway bunker down there on the right side is just over 300 yards to get over it. And longer hitters could nearly drive it in the green side bunker on the right. So just tee it up there. You're playing desert golf for a reason. Enjoy it. Just have a little flick in here. Chance too to have a little birdie at the end of your front nine.
He's hit it very close. He will have that, Frank, for an eagle.
Amazing how quickly the round changes. He'll quickly pick up 2 shots on the field.
Well, that was a nearly flawless performance on the front side, but Frank, we know it's an 18-hole game, isn't it?
That's right. Now's not the time to pat yourself on the back.
This one looks like it's headed right for the middle of the dance floor, Frank.
Rather nice shot, I'd say.
Just a superb shot.
You're not going to see much better than that all day today.
The birdies are nice, but eagles are better. Frank, another really rugged hole. This is the par 3 11th here at Wolf Creek.
Rich, remember that book, Dead Solid Perfect? This is what this hole's all about, because you must hit that tee shot solid. You've got to carry all the trouble in front of you, and remind yourself too, there's enough green grass down there. Not necessarily green, but green grass around it. A good shot safely on the putting surface here, and this green's not too severe. But this is a fun par 3 just to look at, or even at least experience.
Frank, the par 5 12th is another case of a hole where you see that Wolf Creek Golf Club can actually be kind of scary, daunting. When you look out at the desert mountains, and then you add in some water, which we have here on the left, and you can go for some big numbers here if you're not careful.
Well, this is where the Wolf and the Creek can take a bite out of you. You hit it left off the tee, then you're certainly going to start to rack up a number. There's enough fairway down the right, but once again, if you hit a good drive and this hole is reachable for you, then you've got to worry about the water, which is to the right of this green. 5 wouldn't be the worst score you could make around here, that's for sure. I've seen 6s and 7s.
Big swing right there, a great result, and now a chance for a big swing in momentum with an eagle coming up. Now to the 13th hole, and, I don't know, should we just fly it over the mountains, Frank?
It looks like that, but then you better find dry land. 350 yards, but as the crow flies, it's probably just a little over 300 yards. I don't know if the mere mortals would really want to flash it across that desert ridge. You probably want to play a little left of it, have a little pitch up the hill, but if you're one of the longer hitters, why not just try it, see if you can make it.
Let's see what McIlroy does now with his second. Just a pure strike and a perfect result. He'll have a good look at birdie now. You don't want to let this one get away. This is about concentration and focus at this point. That's a birdie for McIlroy. He's just so explosive. Frank, describe the layout here at the 14th hole. It's 444 yards, and what a beautiful hole.
It is, and it's a beautiful view. You see everything from the top of that tee there. It's a hole that keeps bending to the left. There's enough bunkers down the left there to actually take your eye. That's why you've got to fixate on something in the distance that's a much better line than worrying about that wall of sand down the left side.
Drivable par 4, not for most in this field, but for this guy, yes, he has just knocked it on. What a shot. Good putt. Now the short par 3 15th hole here at Wolf Creek. What is this, Frank? Just a wedge or a 9-iron?
That's all, Rich, but it's very tempting to get greedy here. And Well, you pay the price, obviously, if you miss the green on the left down in those bunkers because they're a good 6-7 feet below the level of the green. But with a wedge or a 9-iron, who doesn't go aiming at the flag?
Oh, can't hide the flag stick from that man. Just a couple of feet. Wow, a 5th birdie on the day. Now to the 16th hole as we get set for the finishing stretch. And Frank, what's the best way to play this relatively short par 4?
Somehow you've got to straighten the hole up in your mind's eye, Rich. Just look all the way across that canyon and look like the hole was built straight, because really that's the way it should be played. If you start looking left and turning it into a dog leg, then all of a sudden bad things can happen. So look straight at the green. That's your line. Just try and bisect those 2 fairway bunkers. This is an awkward length.
Never a doubt looking to make a statement today. Now to the 17th, par 5 here at Wolf Creek Golf Club.
A dog leg left. Tee shot obviously has to be played short of that creek down there. It's still going to be a reachable hole, even though this hole's sort of around the 550, 560 mark. But because you've got to play short of that stream, it's going to leave a lengthy second shot, and you've got to get the distance right on the button. Oh, that's fine.
Interesting, with the almost space-age advancements in golf equipment, what with new, lighter materials, and with the increased focus on fitness and strength, players are hitting the ball longer than ever. That has forced architects to lengthen the golf courses without sacrificing the integrity or the shot value of the original design. Well, go ahead and do that. Eagle on the card. Finishing hole here at Wolf Creek is only 307 yards. Frank, where's the trouble here?
Short and to the right of this par 4. Really, there's a multitude of options off this tee. You could hit an iron, you could hit a fairway wood. Even some might try and hit a driver, but that's a little too risky. There's too many problems up ahead if you try and take this hole on. Really a short club off the tee, leaving yourself some area of 170 yards, and you're going to be putting for birdie more often than not.
That's the idea. Just knock it in. Frank, that was an impressive round out there today.
Couldn't agree more, Rich. We've seen some great shots out there, and I'm excited to see how the rest of this tournament plays out.